Hello, Polly. Here we are again. How are you?
I'm brilliant, thank you. How are you doing, Steph?
I'm really good.
So our next guest is Carly Curry.
Yes. Now, Carly's been in financial services for a whole host of different years, and she's most recently spent time being the branch manager at our Holborn branch through Skipton Building Society. So I think she's going to share a lot of content about the difference between working in the banking sector versus mutuality, and she has quite a lot of learnings along the way as well from a personal perspective. So let's get her in. Welcome, everybody, to Carly Curry. So welcome, Carly. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
This is a short walk from your office almost.
It is, yeah.
How long?
About 20 minutes, 20-minute walk. So
And you've got one of the lovely new branches.
I have, yeah. You can come and visit anytime.
And so tell us, how long have you been with Skipton?
So I've been with Skipton, just celebrated my 3-year anniversary on Monday.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
A good 3 years?
Really good 3 years.
You can't
yeah.
say anything else,
No,
obviously.
of course not. No.
I mean, you can, but we'll probably cut it out.
yeah, really good 3 years. Yeah, really enjoying my time with Skipton.
Brilliant. And tell us a bit about yourself.
What do you want to know? Where do you want me to start?
Start with you.
So I'm Carly Curry. So yes, Carly Curry is my real name. Everyone always thinks it's made up. I'm married to Ben. Ben and I are big Spurs fans. So we got married. We walked down the aisle to Glory, Glory, Tottenham Hotspur.
Wow.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, got married on Friday 13th because my dad wouldn't miss a Spurs game. So I couldn't get married on a Saturday.
This sounds
So
like it runs in
I
the
love
family
it.
then.
Yeah, I'm brainwashed into it. I've got a daughter, Lila, who's 7, going on 17.
And so tell us a little bit about your career.
So I've always been in banking. So I used to work prior to Skipton. I worked for HSBC for 20 years.
We have met so many people that have worked at
I know.
HSBC before coming to Skipton.
Yeah. So always worked in a branch network, well, minus a couple of different roles I've done in project management, but always in London, always in central London, always around the West End, the City way. So I started as a cashier, worked my way up to branch manager. So my last branch was Pall Mall, which was a lovely, lovely branch. Sad to leave, but new beginnings. It was a good
What's
thing.
the best thing about working in a branch on the high street?
The people, the team. So
So not the people that come in, but the people in the team. Yeah.
The team. Yeah, customers. Skipton members are very different to banking customers. Banking customers are very quick. They're transactional. They're in and out. You don't really get to know them. Skipton members, you'll build a rapport with. They know you. They'll ring up. They'll ask for you by name. You'll know where they're going on holiday. That's really nice. But your team.
And
It's a
that's
very-
probably what they like about working with Skipton as well,
Yeah.
I would have thought.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting. My parents have recently retired, and I met up with them a couple of weeks ago, and they're local to Skipton, like I am. And all they did was talk about the Skipton branch. Oh, well, I've been in to see the Skipton branch, and we had a nice cup of tea. And
It's so nice,
I've
isn't
just
it?
opened another ISA, and I'm transferring my annuity in, and they're absolutely buzzing.
Yeah.
And it really does bring to life the mutual sector and what the building society sector is about.
It really does.
And I
Yeah.
guess for a lot of our listeners, they probably don't know too much about the difference between banking and building societies. So in banking, all the things that they're doing there is just for the shareholders.
Yeah. Indeed, yeah.
Whereas for us,
Trying to make them as much money.
absolutely. Whereas for us, all of our profits are reinvested back into the business so that we could do more propositions and help more customers, which
Yeah.
is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
And did you feel that difference culturally working in banking versus?
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
tell us more.
really. So I found it was very more friendly. When I first started at Skipton, my first week, I couldn't believe how helpful everyone was. I'd pick the phone up and I'd speak to people and I'd be like, wow, they help me straight away. Or I can't help you, but ring this person and they can. It was so different because it feels more
It's less
family.
transactional, perhaps, in terms
Yeah.
of, that corporate business environment.
Yeah, it was really different. And I think the teams are a lot smaller, so you have to work together. And if I was to ring head office in HSBC, I would speak to a different person every day of the week. In Skipton, you get to know the people. So although I'm in London and most of the people were in Skipton head office, you get to know them and you build. And like I said, I've only been to Skipton once in my career so far, but you get to build that rapport with them.
Genuine relationships.
Yeah.
So why did you leave the banking sector?
I left because it was not as customer focused as I wanted to be. So I like talking to people face to face, and I like the customers to come in, have a really nice conversation and help them. And I felt like I wasn't able to do that. I felt like it was very transactional, and I was transitioning to help them in other ways, and that wasn't my skill set, and I wasn't at my best.
Now, you mentioned that you have always worked at the branch network. How did you get into the branch network?
So I'd done work experience when I was in fourth year, probably year 10, is it now? Year 10. And I'd done a week's, so HSBC came into my school and they said, who wants to come for work experience? I said, yeah, I'll come. And then the following summer, I went back there because I used to work at McDonald's when I was at school, randomly. And when I left school after my A-levels, McDonald's offered me a apprenticeship for a management scheme, but I decided to go into banking because I'd enjoyed my 2 summers of work experience. And yeah, I thought, I'll just do this for a year. And there I am, 20 years later.
So how long were you at HSBC for? 20 plus years?
Yeah, 20 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that must have been a big change and a big risk almost to leave something that you were so familiar with.
Yeah.
I've been with Skipton Building Society for 20 plus years now. I
Yeah.
couldn't imagine leaving and then becoming the new bod somewhere else.
Yeah.
How did you find that, and what were your coping mechanisms?
So I left HSBC during COVID, and all of my family were like, you're mad. I was a breadwinner in my family. All my family were like, you're mad to leave. Absolutely don't do it in COVID. You're never going to get another job that quickly. And I thought, well, change is as good as the norm, isn't it? And I was very institutionalised. I didn't realise how institutionalised I'd become. So HSBC put together like a package to help you when you're looking for other jobs if you take redundancy. But I found a coach on LinkedIn, and I took some coaching because I found sometimes if you always do what you've always done, you don't know what you're good at. And
So
You don't know
important.
what else is out there.
no,
do you,
and you
as
think,
well?
can I transfer my skills? And you doubt yourself. You have like imposter syndrome, don't you, as well? So I got a coach, and I went through quite 2 or 3 hours a week with her, how to rewrite my CV and bring out all the good stuff. I skipped on with my first interview and got the job.
It's fascinating, isn't it? We spoke about imposter syndrome in a number of our podcasts so far. And I think the thing that's interesting for me is so far it's usually been the women that have struggled with it.
I think that is often widely commented on,
Yeah.
isn't it?
And I wonder if it's that women are the only people that feel it, or whether men just don't like to be vulnerable and admit
Yeah.
that they do feel out of place
Yeah.
sometime.
Yeah,
Maybe we'll have to ask one of our next guests to see.
yeah.
Imposter syndrome it's hard, isn't it? So how did you overcome some of those challenges?
So I use positive affirmations quite a lot. So when I was pregnant, I'd done hypnobirthing.
Wow.
Yeah. And that talks to you quite a lot about positive affirmations. So I thought, let's bring it back to life. So I got my little book out and spoke about that. And I think I was talking to my team this morning about what have you learned throughout your career? And I think kind of don't doubt yourself. Your first reaction is normally the right reaction. Your gut instinct, go with it. So now I try and, if I'm thinking, can't do that, or why would I do that? Talking here, I've never done anything like this, but I can do it. I can sit and talk to people, so why wouldn't I do it? And if I do it wrong, you learn from it, don't you?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We started to spend too much time together, Polly.
Way too much time. So, Carly, I'm keen to ask you, you've mentioned that you're pregnant, and I think
Yes.
you've got one child, is
Yes.
that right?
Yeah, I have, yeah.
I know that you've had some experiences, and I'd love to just talk a little bit more about how
Yeah.
you've managed some of the events that you've been through in life,
Yeah.
also sort of with the workplace. And
Yeah.
I think you've had some fertility struggles over the time.
Yeah.
How supportive was your employer at that time?
So I've gone through fertility with HSBC and with Skipton. So both were amazing. I'm really open to it. I tell everyone. I'm a bit of an open book, but I tell my team because I'm in a close-knit team. My previous teams of HSBC, when you're going through such things, they need to know because you're in and out the business sometimes quite a bit for scans and injections and things like that. So I've always been pretty open. So.
I think that's absolutely amazing because I know that certainly in my business, and both for men and for women, there have definitely been people in my team who have had fertility issues or perhaps had miscarriages. And look, it's one of the hardest things I think you can ever go through as a woman.
Yeah.
It's equally hard for your partner.
It is, yeah.
And so as any employer, I think we all need to do so much better at supporting people. And from a personal level, I've got 2 children. I have another one on the way. I haven't had perhaps the same issues as you, but I know that I have had miscarriages, and I think that it's very hard when you are in a senior position in the workplace to talk openly about that. And I know that I've never wanted anyone that's worked for me to not be able to come to me and say, this is what I'm going through. Or for people to fear that would impact their career.
Yeah.
And I think it's really important, and you know, hugely, it's amazing to hear that both HSBC and working at Skipton, they've offered you that support along the way.
Yeah, I think so. I've had 6 rounds of IVF. So my last round was last year, and I fell pregnant, but my baby didn't develop properly, so I had to terminate at 16 weeks.
Wow.
And again, Skipton were amazing. So Skipton had gone through the highs with me of falling pregnant, and obviously everyone knows from like 7 weeks because I was pretty open about it. And then the low of having to then take the time out of the business, and the support of my team, like I couldn't have done it without them. I was able to take myself away from the business to go through what I needed to go through. Fell on my 40th birthday as well, which was
my goodness.
Yeah, not great. But it also makes you appreciate what a good company you work for, because when I talk, obviously I'm in an IVF circle. I know a lot of people that have gone through it now. I mean, when you talk to people, it's so common. It's not spoken about that much. A lot of companies do not offer the support. So not many companies have policies in place to support mums and dads, because dads are just as important. So my husband, he's sad. Just because he's not got a baby inside him doesn't mean that he's not going to be sad and need to be there to support me through the appointments and things like that.
One of the things that we did in my business at John D. Wood and Company 18 months or so ago, we rolled out new policies for fertility, giving our staff the ability to take time off, paid time off to undergo treatment, and therefore making it okay for them to be open about it.
Yeah.
Equally, miscarriage, I think most people will miscarry in silence.
Yeah.
And I think that that's incredibly difficult. So again, we rolled out policies to support men and women going through that process, and that coincided with also policies to support menopause. And I think that, you know, a high percentage of the women that I employ will be at menopausal age, and quite often they'll leave the workplace. And I think that it's of course so much easier not to talk about the topic because it's uncomfortable. I haven't been through the menopause. I will do one day, but I absolutely don't want anyone in my business to leave because they are having a difficult period or need extra support. So we've rolled out training around that. And I think that's amazing that Skipton have done that. What do you think was the best thing that Skipton did? Or what support did you feel that you got from them? Was it just being sympathetic and allowing you time?
Yeah. That's all I needed. So that's all they could have given me. But I just wanted that reassurance that work's not your priority right now. This is being with your family. And obviously my daughter had gone from always wanted a brother or sister to being really happy one week to just absolutely taken from her 2 weeks. So hard. But they do bounce back as quick. But I didn't want to be worrying about, is my branch open today? Who's working Saturday? And my boss at the time just took everything away. So
sounds like a great boss.
Yeah.
So tell me, in terms of sort of a career-defining moment for you. We talk this podcast is about career catastrophes.
Yeah.
I don't love that word because I think that anything you go through in life could be brutal at the time, but by the end of it, you may learn something from it or redirect your path.
Yeah.
Can you think of a career-defining moment that has maybe redirected you?
I think when I first decided, I put my IVF on hold quite a lot. I was like, I won't do it now because we're really busy and we're doing this or we're doing that or we're doing that. And my boss at the time sat me down and he was like, Carly, there is never going to be a time.
There is never a good time to have a child.
We've had this conversation. I'm getting
deja
vu.
Just do it. And I was like, yeah, but I want that. I want that promotion, or I want this, or I want to get there. And he was like, yeah, but you're still going to get there. You'll still do that. It just might be 6 months later when you come back. So that was a bit of an eye-opener for me. And then when I left HSBC, as we've spoken about, I thought, I can't do nothing. And there was people in my family going, Carly, you've only ever done HSBC. Why are you leaving? It's a great job. Don't do it. I was like, no, I can. And I need to do something different. And if I always keep doing the same thing, I'm never going to get better. So that was and I wish I'd done it 10 years ago, if I'm honest, because I've learnt so much. I do the things that I enjoy doing rather than going through emotions and ticking boxes. I develop and I'm coaching people to be better.
What's the best thing about your job now?
So seeing people get better and go through the ranks, because that's what I come to work for. That's my job. So a branch will run whether you're there or not, but the people is what make a good branch. If you walk into a branch, you can tell straight away how the atmosphere is, if it's going to be a good team.
And if I said to you, what could Skipton be doing better? And it's not a criticism of Skipton, because every business could be doing better, and this is your platform.
Yeah.
On behalf of colleagues, what could Skipton be doing better at the moment?
Promote financial advice better. It's a hidden gem on the high street. No one else offers it. We do not shout about it enough. And I know that is slowly coming through marketing and stuff now, but we work really hard in the branches, but we can only do it so much outbounding on the phones or so much when customers come in. But if we shout about it and have really good marketing in place, because it helps people retire earlier. It helps them buy their house, things like that. The financial advice is massive.
And it's not just financial advice either, is it? Because I think you're right, we're a hidden gem.
Yeah.
So the difference between Skipton Building Society and some of the other big financial advice firms is that a number of those will only have a conversation with you if you have over £100,000 in savings, which would be a lovely dream to have, but not everybody does. Whereas with Skipton Building Society, we do it if you've got over £20,000, and we're really focusing on financial education. So really helping people understand, have you got credit cards? Have you got this? What's the best thing for you right now? And how do we help people create those dreams for the future?
Yeah, and people will come in for one thing, but when you sit down and you have a chat with them and you understand what's important to them, they'll be like, oh, can you help me with that? Or it's just what people think they want and what they leave with is very, very different. And that's our job, to educate them. We're the experts to do that.
I think while we're on the subject of the workplace, it seems like now's the right time to ask you this, because we ask all of our guests the same question. And can you tell us about an experience when you've either interviewed someone or been interviewed about a really good experience or an experience where something went terribly wrong that you could share with us?
Well, my first ever interview, so when I interviewed with HSBC for my first proper job, turned up at the wrong place. So I was at one branch and I should have been at the branch down the road. So I turned up there like all suited and booted, really like, I'm here for my interview, 15 minutes early, thinking they were like, oh, you should be at the branch up the road.
No.
Was it your fault or their fault?
No, it's my fault.
Yeah.
I thought there was
It's
just one
the first
branch.
test, isn't it? We have people that turn up for our induction and they didn't read the email.
Yeah.
And think, come on, guys.
Yeah, and I'm just like, so like running up the street, so I wasn't late. Turn up like sweaty mess, because it was about the May time, because I was still at school. So it was about the May time I had the interview, and then I started in September, and it just like, oh no. And I think, like you're saying, just research the company. So I interviewed someone not long ago for Skipton, and he came on, and I said, oh, tell me what you know about Skipton, because that's one of the first questions. He was like, oh, I know that you're really big in the construction industry. I've seen all your billboards around town. And I was thinking, I said, can I just stop you? I said, we're a building society. He went, oh, sorry, I thought it was a building company.
So you were saying this before. I think I always ask people, what do you know about the company? And normally they read the first page of they just recite it back to me. First page of the website. And I think, well, at least they took the time. But sometimes you can tell. And it's the depth to it.
Yeah.
And would you say that you've ever interviewed anybody that they've done something that was just, immediately was a no-no? Or
recently, this year actually, because we're doing a lot on Teams, so we can do them virtually now. The one guy had his children. He said, oh, my children are here. I was like, okay. And then he just turned the camera off and he went, can you just wait 5 minutes? I just need to sort my son out. I was like, oh, okay.
Gosh, but we can all be flexible.
Yeah.
That moment in time was probably
for that hour you're interviewing.
Yeah, it probably would have been sensible to put a plan together.
Yeah. And then it just completely threw him the whole interview, because you knew his priority was his son behind him, keeping his son quiet. So whatever he was doing,
it must have been difficult. I feel a bit sorry for him.
Yeah,
at the same time.
bless it. I know. Yeah, I did. But
okay.
So we're going to test. We have a game. You tell us you're a really big Spurs fan, and we're going to test it.
see how big a fan I am then, yeah?
So we're going to work out who your top Spurs player is in a
Okay.
quick fire round.
Okay.
Oh my goodness! Hold on. We've never done this before, have we?
So what we're going to do is we're going to hold up 2 cards. You get to pick one of the players, which one's your favourite, and then we will drop the other one and replace it with another.
Okay.
Okay.
And it's safe to say me and Polly know nothing about these people.
I hope I know who they
I am
are.
a
then.
football mum, but not Spurs.
Oh, Gareth Bale.
So, okay. So, yeah, Gareth Bale over Teddy Sheringham.
Yeah.
I mean, Teddy apparently won the treble with Manchester United in 1999. Dated Katie Price.
I'd go Gareth then.
Yeah, Gareth Bale.
I've got Glenn Hoddle here.
Oh.
44 caps for England during his Tottenham career.
My dad would say Glenn Hoddle, but that's not my era, so I'm going Gareth
Yeah.
Bale still.
Oh, God, I'm not doing
My
well
life's easy
here.
on this one.
This is another older person.
Is this your dad?
Aussie
lives
Ardiles?
5 minutes down the Ardiles.
Sorry, Ardiles.
Gareth Bale.
Argentinian.
Yeah. I'm on to a winner here.
Harry Kane. I do know this one.
Harry Kane.
Bye, Gareth.
Ooh, current England captain.
That means I've got to read. So, Jimmy Greaves scored 266 goals in 370 appearances.
I mean, Harry Kane's very current.
Yeah.
Spurs' greatest
And he's broke the
player, it says
record.
on here.
Get rid of it.
Yeah, Harry Kane. My dad will be killing me right now if he hears this.
Who's this guy? James Maddison.
Harry Kane.
She's not even interested. We'll move on. And
gonna
last
win.
but not least, Gary Mabbott made 750 professional
He's nice, but
appearances.
Harry Kane rules.
So there we have it. And
Harry
I'm happy that
Kane.
the one that we've chosen I've actually heard of.
Well, I mean, he's the only person that I've ever heard of.
For England captain, we probably should have.
The greatest Spurs player of all time. Thank you so much, Carly, for your time and
Thank
for coming
you.
to see us today. Our next guest on the podcast is Ian Merchant, a branch manager from Bairstow Eves.
Now, Ian's been in real estate business for over 20 years. And not only that, but I hear he used to train with the Gladiators. So I'm sure he's got lots of interesting stories to share.
Halfway through the first sort of opening bit of the interview, decided to answer their mobile phone.
No.
You have made my day because I
Wow.
absolutely believe, regardless of dress code, that you need to dress up for an interview.
Absolutely.
So we'll see you again in a month's time.
And please remember to subscribe to Career Catastrophes, brought to you by the Skipton Group, however you listen to your podcasts.
And we'd love it if you left us a review, either on Spotify or Apple Podcasts.